Hi, everyone. It's Brad Free, and we're going to be talking about grass fillies this weekend for the Santa Anita Stakes preview. It's the Grade 3 Honeymoon Stakes on Saturday. Before we look at the field, let's talk a little bit about the 3-year-old grass division. It's kind of weird this year because we've had so many cancellations. By now, we would generally be up and running with a bunch of stakes races already in the books, but Santa Anita canceled the Providencia and the Senorita, a couple of grade 3s. The Appalachian in April at Keeneland has been postponed from April until July. The Edgewood early May at Churchill Downs was nixed. It could be rescheduled for later in the year. So I'm going to consider the grade 3 Honeymoon on Saturday kind of the launch of the 3-year-old grass filly season. Recognizing, of course, that there have been a couple of graded stakes races for this division run down in Florida, won by Cheermeister and Outburst. The problem is we all know that winter-spring grass racing in Florida, for fillies anyway, 3-year-old fillies, is not that strong. And both Cheermeister and Outburst, after winning graded stakes races at Gulfstream and or Tampa Bay, they both kind of went off form in subsequent starts. So the start of the grass filly division is now, I think, in my opinion, and we have some good things to look forward to. I should also recognize, of course, that Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf winner Sharing returned last weekend in a non-graded stakes race, and she ran well. She won again. She's now 5 for 5, Sharing is, and she'll either be shipping to, she's 4 for 5, I should say. Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf winner Sharing, she won the Tepin at Churchill Downs. She either goes to Royal Ascot or the Wonder again on June 20th at Belmont Park. So last year's top 2-year-old grass filly, now 3. She launched her season last weekend in a non-graded stakes race at Churchill Downs. But we're going to be talking about horses that are running in graded stakes races, including a field of 9 entered in the Honeymoon Stakes on Saturday at Santa Anita. Let's go ahead and take a look at the field. It's a 1 1/8 grass race. And the morning line favorite is down on the bottom, number 9, Stella Star. Second choice on the morning line is number 5, Laura's Light. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this race would generally be the third graded stakes race in a series of graded stakes races run during winter and spring at Santa Anita, but the Providencia and Senorita both were canceled. Anyway, we're left with a field of 9. We're not just left with a field of 9. We have a good field of 9 with a legitimate favorite in number 9, Stella Star. Stella Star actually won a Group 3 stakes race last fall in Ireland, and she was subsequently purchased privately by Ronus Racing, transferred to trainer John Sadler, and in her U.S. debut, it was March 7th at Santa Anita. Let's take a look at the start of the China Doll Stakes, March 7th at Santa Anita, and watch post position number 4. They all break except for, Stella Star. She broke last. Now, this is a filly whose best races overseas were on the front end. She broke last. She got rank early. She was completely uncomfortable early. And you kind of thought, well, this is not going to work out real well for Stella Star. But the fact of the matter is she actually launched an impressive rally wide into the stretch. That's her on the far outside, Stella Star smoking home through the drive. Her final quarter in 23-1, and she would have won this race if not for the perfect tripper on the inside. That's Warren's Showtime, who saved every inch of ground and defeated Stella Star. Stella Star was best in the China Doll. Now, that was nearly 3 months ago. She has trained well since then. She had an auspicious U.S. debut. She switches from Joel Rosario to Flavian Pratt. Pratt is the top rider in California. And if Stella Star can reproduce that win without reproduce that effort, without losing as much ground into the stretch, she should be very, very tough to beat. However, her price is only 2-1, so I'm not really giving away any secrets. The 6th place finisher in the China Doll is a filly by the name of Geedy. Gidi was imported from Europe last year. She made her first 2 starts in the summer and fall for trainer Leonard Powell. She won a maiden race, she won an allowance race, and then in 2 subsequent stakes races, she broke slowly, as she has all 4 times in the U.S. Not that big of a deal, but it's what Gidi did during the course of the race. She tended to get rank and unmanageable and pulled hard and expended all her energy before the field even got to the stretch. But in the China Doll, after you're watching this video, go back and fire up Formulator and take a look at the China Doll and watch the trip of Gidi. She breaks from post 12 in a 13-horse field, and for the first time in 5 U.S. starts, Gidi actually ran like a professional. She did not pull. She settled comfortably. She waited on the far turn. She had to wait longer than was originally planned because Stella Star kind of took her spot. But Gidi finished with run. She galloped out alongside Stella Star, and from a gambling perspective, 8-1 on Gidi might be a fair price to take a shot against Stella Star, recognizing, of course, that Stella Star is legitimate. But Gidi, ridden for the first time by Brice Blanc, and she is a better filly this year at age 3 than she was at age 2. But go back and judge for yourself how well she ran. I think she ran very well. The horse to catch in the Honeymoon Stakes is a filly by the name of Parkour. And Parkour, last time out in an allowance race, she ran the fastest half mile of the meet for a turf mile. Fastest half mile prior to the interruption of racing. She went 45-1 and basically ran them off their feet. Let's look at the stretch run of Parkour. She opened up into the lane by 6 lengths at the 8th pole, and this race was all but over. It was an impressive display of speed. Now, what's the knock on Parkour? Well, it's this. Unlike Stella Star, who finished her final quarter in 23-1, Parkour, after that blistering opening half mile in 45-1, her final quarter mile, 25-2. She ran them off their feet. She won big. It was an impressive display of speed. But on Saturday, she's stretching out another 1/8 of a mile, and her come-home time was approximately 10 lengths slower than Stella Star. Furthermore, she faces a formidable pace rival in Laura's Light. Laura's Light is a front runner also. In fact, she's a front-running stakes winner. And at a 1 1/8, most of the time, 70% of the time since early January, 1 1/8 races at Santa Anita are won from the back of the field. That's the type of running style that Stella Star employed in her U.S. debut. That's the type of running style that Gidi has employed in all 5 U.S. starts. So I think this race is going to be won by one of 2 fillies, either the favorite Stella Star, the most probable winner of the race, or long shot Gidi. If she settles again, and if she can get a 1 1/8, and if she delivers the same type of closing kick she did last time, I wouldn't be at all surprised if Gidi upsets the favorite in the Grade 3 Honeymoon. But it goes through Stella Star, trained by John Sadler, owned by Ronus Racing, leading jockey Flavian Pratt aboard. That's a look at the Grade 3 Honeymoon Stakes on Saturday at Santa Anita.